Hey guys, Ramsey here. Welcome to another video. Tonight we have a late night insight video on a line that I have not reviewed from this line. This is the high-end line of YSL, of Yves Saint Laurent, and this is called the La Vestiaire collection, which is just, it almost just makes me sick saying it. I don't like it. But I really don't like this line, to be honest with you, but I'm going to start with a fragrance that I do like from this line because I don't want to start completely bashing a fragrance from the get-go. Or, well, I guess I should say I've done that a lot on the channel, so I feel like putting my best foot forward on this one. And this is called YSL's Caftan. So you can see I do not have a bottle of this, but if you're interested in what the La Vestiaire collection looks like, this is what the bottles look like. Very minimalist, you could tell they copied Chanel. And they've got the magnetic cap. This one actually was a gift from a friend. Thank you, Jeff, by the way, for this. He said he got mad and punted the cap one day, and that's why it has seen better days, but it is a magnetic cap. And I hate this fragrance, by the way. Tuxedo is going to get absolutely annihilated on my channel one of these days. I just got to build up the anger, Maybe when I have a bad day, I'll come and review that. I hate Tuxedo. But Caftan is a different story. I actually do like this fragrance. And by the way, I have to say thank you to my perfume god person. You know who you are, who sent this along. So thank you very much. It would be impossible for me to review so many fragrances like I do without the help from the community. And actually, I'm going to do a fresh spray because I want to remind myself of the opening, which I actually really like. My favorite part of this fragrance is the first hour or two. And unfortunately, that is true for many of these YSL modern releases. They try to catch you in the beginning, and it feels like everything just falls apart in the base, as is a common trope in the fragrance community. But let me read you a little bit about some of the things that they say about Caftan. Okay, so according to the YSL website, it says it's a mysterious allure, blends dark velvety incense with lush, radiant benzoin. I'll agree with that. Mysterious and vibrant. Caftan is a tribute to far-flung journeys, whatever the hell that means. 75 ml bottles go for like just under $200. And I think this, which is the 125, these come in 125 mils, the big boys. I think it goes for just under $300. So pretty expensive juice. And, for the type of perfume you get in these La Vestiaire collections, or La Vestiaire, I don't know how you say it, but I feel like they need to do better, in my opinion. But Caftan is a step in the right direction. It came out in 2015, and the notes are pink pepper, bergamot, green mandarin orange in the top, frankincense, benzoin, styrax in the heart, cistus absolute, and musk in the base. Now, I feel like there's more notes in here, but, that's what they have listed. It's considered a spicy, smoky. And again, with these type of late night insight videos, obviously I don't have years of experience with the scent. This is just me wearing it a couple times to bed and giving my 2 cents on it. I'll probably never smell the fragrance again, unless I just whip out this decant and do the last couple sprays. But I think it's probably one of the strongest from this high-end line. I would also like to smell Cuir, and there's a couple others from this high-end YSL line that are on my to sniff list, but this is pretty good stuff. For as bad as this line has been, I like this. And basically, it's interesting because I talked about going to the dentist today, and if you know my taste, well, I talked about it on my Roja Scandal Pour Homme video if you watched it, but if you know my taste, you know that I do not have a sweet tooth in my perfume. I do not like sweet fragrances for the most part. I really have to be in the mood to wear something with a sweetness, and, in my real life, though, I actually do have a sweet tooth, hence my visit to the dentist. But this actually opens up very gummy, resiny. There's a little bit of sweetness, but not too much. It's very properly dosed here for me. And instantly you get this sort of green incense that takes over the composition. And I say green incense because there is a green mandarin orange note in the top of this fragrance. And that green mandarin orange note is essentially an essential oil that is used in perfumery by cold pressing the peel of unripe green mandarin fruits. And so it adds this green, bitter, sort of citrusy, orange feel with undertones of orange blossom, or you could say this neroli, like floral smell undertone, okay? And it adds the green touches to the incense in the beginning. So basically, when you first spray, you're going to get hit with the pink pepper, bergamot, but the green mandarin orange is really, I think, the star of the opening, along with the incense. The incense is the true star of the show, the frankincense, okay? This is a frankincense heavy release, but it's a frankincense heavy release that's done in a designer style, if that makes sense. Even though this is the high-end YSL line, they always keep their fragrances, to me, leaning to the designer side of things. That's why I think you don't see many frag heads like me going crazy for their high-end line, like you do people with Chanel and Frederic Malle and Dior and stuff like that, right? So the star of the show, the frankincense. The green mandarin orange is a very interesting touch to this. I have a green incense fragrance that I plan on reviewing. It's a vintage discontinued that is going to be a secret. I've talked about it before on the channel, but I'm gearing up for a review sooner or later, hopefully. So just imagine this smell, right? You're peeling an unripe mandarin orange while that green incense is like wafting around you, okay? And which on the spectrum, on my skin, sort of goes from this green incense to the greenness fading away and the incense just sitting on a bed of sort of woody cistus and musk, okay? There's that cistus absolute note, which can sometimes come across as sticky, slightly leathery. There are some differences between cistus and labdanum, but that's way too much of a conversation for this video, really a late night insight video. But the problem is, for me, is you get that designer like rosy pink pepper, and it really feels, I don't care what they say, part of my problem with this line is even that note listing that I read you, it feels like there is a vanilla note in here. And some may say, well, that's just the benzoin giving that radiant warmth they're talking about. But in reality, it feels like there's this powdery sweetened vanilla, okay? And as it dries further and further and further, that powdery sort of sweetened vanilla comes out more as that green mandarin orange gives way. You know, the frankincense is still there, but it just feels like it's sitting on this designer bed of vanilla and musks, okay? It's interesting because in the first hour or two, I feel like Khalees Becker is a skilled enough perfumer to hide some of the deficiencies, probably some of the deficiencies that YSL is giving her in the ingredients to work with, is my guess. Or maybe this is what YSL actually wants. I don't know. But I think she's most well known. Khalees Becker is a very famous perfumer. She's most well known for her work with Kilian, which of all of the stuff that she has created, I have not reviewed one of her Kilian works. She's done stuff like Intoxicated, which was a huge Fragcom hit in 2014, Back to Black, Aphrodisiac, A Taste of Heaven, Absinthe Vert, Amber Oud, Rose Oud, Sacred Wood, Sweet Redemption, The End. I mean, so many Kilian fragrances, I couldn't even list them all. And I haven't reviewed any of them, but there actually are two fragrances that are on my to review list from Khalees Becker, and they're both discontinued, unfortunately. One is called What About Adam by the House of Yop. That is a fantastic fragrance in the summertime. One of the best tomato leaf fragrances you could think of. I love that note. That opening green tomato leaf is just amazing. And she also made this, which I had at hand, so I figured I'd show you the bottle. Cuir de Lancome, which is also discontinued. A beautiful sort of floral leather. And, you know, it harkens back to, there's a Caron fragrance, which for some reason I can never remember the name of it, but there's a vintage Caron fragrance from the 1920s. And it'll probably come to me like as soon as I close the video out. But I think something like this is probably based on the Caron fragrance I'm talking about, Cuir Cannage, and what's it called? Blonde, something blonde, Tabac Blonde, excuse me. I can never remember that name for some reason. Tabac Blonde by Caron. So there's touches of Tabac Blonde by Caron in here. There's a very sort of floral leather with beautiful iris. It's like a irisy leather, okay? These two share some commonality, interestingly enough. And, but that is on the list to review, and that is a Khalees Becker, is why I was going down that rabbit hole. So, but back to Caftan, okay? So basically what happens, the frankincense is the star of the show for me. It's my favorite part of the fragrance, but I wish that some of these high-end YSL lines just, sort of took an idea and just run with it, and fuck being worried about being all things to all people. Keeping this weird designer thing going on in the background. It's almost like they don't want to get too far out of their lane. Like they're afraid. You know what I mean? Like they're like, oh God, we're out of our comfort zone of appealing to everything to all people. You know what I mean? They're like, oh God, the car is beeping at us to get back in the lane. We can't do this. We can't go too far out of our lane. And I'm like, just take the damn note and run with it, Create something different. Create something amazing. Why does everything have to be this same generic blob over and over and over again? Even when the interesting notes are put in, you can't get away from it sometimes. And that bothers me with this, because I actually really like Caftan. I think it offers some very appealing things to me. I like how the frankincense sits on this warm sort of benzoin base. It adds this enveloping warmth. I like the spicy woodiness that it kind of sits on. Now, again, because I can't get away from thinking that there should be more to it. Like, for example, that spicy woodiness, there's no wood notes listed. And it just smells like a generic cedar, like a generic cedar note. I wish that at this price point, almost $300 for 125 mils, I wish that it was more detailed. If you go watch my Roja Scandal review today, one of the reasons why I justified that. Now that was the Eau de Parfum that's discontinued and sold for 200 something. Now it's double that price for half of the juice, right? But the details are what make these high-end fragrances. Paying attention to every little detail along the way, really letting the perfumer take their time and not be rushed and create something different and amazing. And sorry, it's actually thundering outside. I was trying to get this in before the storm came. But in my opinion, that's what these high-end lines should be. They should open up the budget. If there should be no budget restrictions. There should be no restrictions on what to create. If something is weird and outlandish, it's okay, L'Oreal. Everything does not have to be a bestseller, I promise you. Besides, most people who are going to spend $300 for 125 mil are not the same people that are going to go buy, whatever your modern designer is for $100, right? It's okay to open it up a little bit, It really feels like they're putting out any of the flames before they can really burn, if that makes sense. And especially, since I'm on my high horse, I might as well keep continuing, especially since they're competing against stuff like Chanel, They're competing directly. I mean, look at the label in the bottle. You can tell who they're modeling their high-end line after. They're competing against Dior. The whole point of these bottles just having a simple white label and nothing else on here is that the whole point is that the brands are trying to tell you, hey, we are spending all of our money on the juice. You're not paying for the fancy cap. You're not paying for the crazy expensive bottle with the gold plaque on it. You're paying for the juice inside. That's the whole point of these brands trying to signal this simple, clean sort of look, right? Simplistic bottling, because they're trying to tell you implicitly, we're spending the money on the juice. And some of these Dior Privés feel like they do, but I would take the Dior Privé line all day, every day over this, or over, anything from the YSL line. I would take the Chanel Les Exclusifs all day, every day over anything like this. And so it feels like YSL just felt like, you know what? All we have to do is put the juice in a high-end bottle and triple the price and people will buy it. And that's bullshit to me. Like, I really feel like they need to spend more time on the product itself, on the juice, not the packaging, not trying to trick people to buy it, not trying to make people subconsciously think it's better than it is because it's in an expensive bottle, but actually spend time on the juice. That's what I think is missing from this line. It's the reason why you don't have many people like me who love perfume raving about the Les Vestiaires line or whatever the hell it is, It's the reason why it gets pushed to the back burner. It's a redheaded step cousin of Chanel or the Dior line, right? And until things change at YSL, which basically means until things change at L'Oreal, which means probably never, they're always going to be a has-been or just a afterthought, It's never something that I'm going to get up here and be like, you have to go get Caftan, even though I like Caftan. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't come close to their competition. And that's my problem. You know, I want to be picking out specific details in the dry down. I want to be picking out that wood note. I don't just want it to be a phantom generic wood. I don't want it to be just a generic musk dry down, which this basically turns into to me. It feels like it just turns into a powdery, vanillic, musky, with the frankincense touches here and there, with the generic woody touches, but I want more, you know? I like the first hour. The first hour is my favorite. And then the second hour, it seems like it just gets progressively worse and worse, if that makes sense. And deep into the dry down, it feels like they paid no attention to it at all. And that is a problem for me, in my opinion. And that powdery vanillic musk dry down thing, you've smelled a million times. Even though there's no vanilla note in here, I would bet my bottom dollar that there is definitely a vanilla accord in this fragrance. I feel like they just put it in everything. They want it to have that smoothness. They can't let anything be sharp edges, you know? They have to have it to where it just appeals to as many people as possible. That's their whole stick. And maybe that's what they're going for. But, you know, for me, I would have loved to see that smoky sort of frankincense note amped up. I would have loved to see them take more chances, remove the vanilla, make it drier, you know, make the smoke more enhanced. Keep playing with that green smoke accord, that incense. Keep pulling on that string. See where it takes you, you know, try something different. It's almost like I just want to reach through the screen and just grab some of the executives at some of these houses and just be like, what the F are you doing? You know what I mean? And it just unimaginative, uninspired juice. And what sucks is I like Caftan. I think it's overpriced for what it is. I don't think there's anything necessarily special enough about it to be in the Vestiaire collection. But I actually like it. I like it a hell of a lot more than Tuxedo. I'll tell you that. Tuxedo is going to get bashed. You think Caftan's getting bashed? Wait till Tuxedo. So that's sort of my issue with this YSL line. It's the reason I haven't done very many videos on them. Mostly because everything I smell is just so... It's not that it's a bad fragrance per se. I think it is completely unisex. I think a man or a woman could wear this. I think it leans slightly masculine, but those warm benzoin-y resinous things, I think Caftan would smell amazing on a powerful woman who's brave and willing to take chances with what she wears. I think it would smell absolutely stunning. But you know, I want more. I want more from the line. You know what I mean? It's they may have hit their mark. Maybe this is good enough for them, but it's not good enough for me. It's not good enough for some of the stuff that I've smelled. It's not good enough with what they're competing against. It definitely wouldn't get me... I can't buy any bottles right now of fragrance, but if I could, it definitely wouldn't get me to open up my wallet and go give them $275 or whatever it is for 125 mil. No way. Not even close. I wouldn't even think about it, you know. I like the fragrance, but they need to take it to the next level. And you know what? If for them that means taking it from 275 to 325 or 350 or whatever it is, I feel like everything is just going more expensive. Make it more expensive, but make it premium. You know, make it premium. That's one of the things I say about brands like some of these niche brands I talk about. Like if you've heard me talk about Javoy, I always say everything feels premium with Javoy's juice and their bottling and packaging and all that stuff, but you don't pay premium prices. But if YSL feels like they can't do the type of fragrances that, let's say, Javoy are doing at $180 or $200 or whatever their juice is for 100 mils, and they need to charge an extra 100 or an extra 150, do it. You know, the people who love these fragrances will probably pay a little bit more for the juice, in my opinion. And the stuff that gets hyped out of this line, Tuxedo, Baby Cat, or whatever the hell it is, just absolute pathetic. And so that's part of the issue, I think, with this line. So anyways, enough. I've been on my high horse for almost 20 minutes now. But the sad part is I actually like Caftan. I really do. I enjoyed getting to know it. Thank you to my perfume god person for sending me a couple precious drops of this juice. So appreciate everyone's feedback. If you have experience with this line or Caftan in general, I'd love to hear your thoughts. So there are some others from this line that I'd love to smell. They have a leather, which I'm very interested in checking out, a couple others, but that's kind of my take on it. So if you have any experience with Caftan, leave a comment below. I appreciate everyone's feedback and watching and commenting and all the stuff you all do for the channel. You know, we're coming up on another milestone, whatever it is, 7,000 subscribers, which is just shocking to me, but happy for each and every one of you who subscribe and the feedback, the back and forth. I really do appreciate it. I love it. I love doing these videos for you guys. I wish I didn't have to work and I could just do this stuff full time. So I need to do like you know, what was it that what's it called when like maybe like a Kickstarter campaign? Just I just need to get to like, I don't know, 100 grand, guys, and then I can quit my job. That probably wouldn't do it anyways, not with everything that's going on. But yeah, it would be cool to do this full time. But unfortunately, it's still kind of a part-time gig for me. It'll probably always be a hobby and a part-time gig. But I do love exploring these new houses and just documenting kind of my journey and what I think on the fragrances. And I hope it helps people as they explore these houses as well. So anyways, that's my thought. Hope to hear from you below. Cheers, guys, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.